Lexus has refreshed its entry-level crossover, the UX, for 2023. And while it gets a lot of updates for the refresh, should you just buy the bigger brother, the NX? So for 2023, Lexus has given the UX some nice upgrades. What we're looking at here is the F Sport handling package. There are two F Sport vehicles under the UX name now. There's the F Sport handling and also the F Sport appearance. The F Sport handling gives you Yamaha performance dampers, adaptive variable suspension, a more intricate interior, which we'll go into a little bit. And all F Sport models come with paint matched wheel arches for 2023. They also have a completely blacked out roof, as well as blacked out roof rails and a shark fin antenna. I think it's a great look to this vehicle. Now you can still get the UX without the F Sport package, but in my taste, I prefer the F Sport. I like the mesh pattern F Sport grille. I also like the fog lights, which are very difficult to get on the base model. The 18-inch wheels are a carryover from the previous year, but the Bridgestone tires have been redesigned for a more quiet ride. Now, when the UX came out in late 2018 as a 2019 model year, it had the light bar that has kind of infiltrated or permeated the entire Lexus lineup. I think they look amazing, especially in low light conditions. And the UX's lights are very unique because they kind of separate from the body. They stick out a little bit, kind of like shark fins on each side. The F Sport gets some additional trim on the very bottom of the bumper as well. And what's different also for 2023 is they took out the blue hybrid accents for the logo on the front and rear badges. They also took off the blue on the H right here. They also added the all-wheel drive lettering as well to let you know you're an all-wheel drive model. But let's get into the cargo here. This is one of the most limiting aspects of the UX as a crossover. You would expect to have a lot of cargo room, but it only has 17 cubic feet of space. And if I lift up this floor, you have a nice hidden compartment down here, but there is no spare tire. There's an additional cargo tray underneath here and also another cargo space here with a battery behind it. We have a nice speaker grill here as well, a 12-volt adapter, a nice LED light here on both sides. Now these seats do fold flat, so you do have that utility of a crossover hatchback. We have a kick sensor with an automated lift gate here. Underneath the hood, we have the 2-liter hybrid system from Toyota. This makes 181 horsepower. It gets around 40 miles per gallon. An updated variant of the setup is now seen in the Toyota Prius, which makes up to 196 horsepower. Unfortunately, the Lexus 250h has not received those updates. On the inside of the F Sport handling UX, we have F Sport seats. I love the design here with the F Sport lettering on the headrest. You can get these in black as well, but I think the red is a nice touch. There's not too much red in here like the ISF Sport, for example. Nice little red accent on the door, soft touch all throughout the door as well as on the dash with some nice stitching here as well. This is a huge upgrade for the UX. We have the 12-inch touchscreen. Now the base is an 8-inch screen, but they both have the same software, so you can have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto wirelessly. But for Android Auto, I've been plugging my phone in here through the USB because this Android Auto wireless has been pretty unreliable for me. Volume knob here next to the screen, and we also have two USB-Cs here, a descending wireless charger, which is nice because your phone's not going to fly out of there. They've carried over these climate control settings, which I really like, but what they have changed is they got rid of the volume and tuning buttons here on the armrest, which I kind of liked on the old UX because you didn't have to move your hand to adjust the volume. And instead of the touchpad, because now we have a full-blown touchscreen software system, we have the heated and ventilated seat buttons here as well as your heated steering wheel. Speaking of the steering wheel in this F Sport model, we have a little badge here. Also, the F Sport handling gets the aluminum pedals. We have paddle shifters here, which made it to an eCVT, doesn't really do a whole lot. And behind the steering wheel, we have the F Sport slidey gauge, which is pretty cool. It's more of a party trick than anything. Now, like the ES, we do have different driving modes. Sport Plus is going to be the stiffest settings for your steering, as well as those performance dampers. And we can also turn off traction control up here. We do have active sound control, which we'll play with it when we're driving it. And then you also have the head-up display, which is pretty antiquated in here, not nearly as updated as, let's say, the RX or the NX is. They moved the cup holders just a little bit, and I do prefer this old school shifter here. Even though we're in a hybrid, we don't have like the small little nub shifters that we see in the RX and NX redesigns. Getting into this back seat, this is one of the Achilles heels of the UX. We just have a ton of limitations here with leg room. I'm sitting behind my seat at 6'1". Luckily, the back of the seat is soft, but I would not want to spend too much time in here behind a tall person, as being a somewhat tall person. Luckily, we do have vents back here in this very small cabin. That's nice to see, something we wouldn't see in, let's say, a Toyota Prius. We also have 2 USB-C chargers down here as well to match the 2 USB-C chargers up front. Headroom's pretty good in here despite the small stature of the vehicle, and no panel roof in here. You just have an option of a standard roof. Another small update is they changed these to LED lights for 2023. One of the great things about being in a Toyota hybrid is that when you're at a stoplight, as long as you're not blasting the AC, it's dead quiet. Now, this UX does have that annoying hybrid noise that Toyota put into their vehicles for like a 2-3 year span. They're starting to get away with that with, let's say, the new NX and RX hybrids. It's not nearly as obtrusive of a sound, but just sitting here quietly, I hear this BMW coming at me, and maybe the truck behind. It's just a very quiet experience here. And traction control kicking in a little bit. This thing still has a lot of pep at a low speed. Lots of torque from the electric motors. It does feel very front wheel drive-ish, even though you have an electric motor in the back helping to propel this vehicle. But you still are going to have wheel spin if it's a little wet outside. And luckily for 2023, the UX is standard hybrid. They got rid of the 2-liter naturally aspirated non-hybrid system that was only front wheel drive. Thankfully, that was not a good system for a luxury vehicle. It's fine in a Corolla, not a $40,000 Lexus, in my opinion. Also, what they did for 2023 is offer the UX hybrid and front wheel drive now that that old 2-liter non-hybrid front wheel drive is out of the lineup. So you can go that route as well and probably get a little bit better fuel economy. This all-wheel drive model that I've been driving around town, I've been getting about 40 miles per gallon around town, taking my parents' places since they're visiting for the holidays. Now, it is a bit foggy this morning, and it's great to have auto rain sensing wipers, which didn't really help with the fog, but I have a windshield wiper on the back glass there, which is a game changer, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to see back there. Even with the defrost going on, it would still be completely moistured over. So Lexus has stiffened this vehicle, reworked the dampers. Even on the base model, we have 20 more spot welds, for example. And the F-Sport handling gives you the performance dampers, adaptive variable suspension, and it's still a very cush, soft ride. I haven't put it in Sport Plus mode once since I've been driving. I just don't see the need for it, especially with the straight roads I have here in Florida. So to me, this package is too expensive and not worth it. This vehicle with all-wheel drive is about $47,000, and like, I would get the NX 350h premium package, which has way more power, way more space. I wouldn't be compromising on rear legroom or rear cargo space. I would have better visibility as well, and have heated and ventilated seats too with that premium package and a sunroof. I would be giving up nothing. This also has a head-up display on it that you wouldn't have in the NX Premium, but it's nothing like, I get a double vision effect, so I prefer not even to look at it, so I'm just gonna turn it off. Also, by the head-up display button, we have the active sound control. So I'm gonna be quiet, I'm gonna turn this on, I'm gonna put it into Sport Plus mode, and I'm gonna get into the gas. I'm gonna use the paddle shifters, which simulates gears. What? That is the most ridiculous thing. I've turned that off the entire time. So it makes a sound. It's not the exhaust, but it pumps the sound through the rear speakers, and the revs are climbing, and it fake shifts through the speakers. So it sounds like you're upshifting, but the revs haven't dropped at all. So it's just a ridiculous thing, and I can't believe that has made it into this vehicle. I put it back into normal mode. I'm driving at about 42 miles an hour. I'm in full EV mode, and of course it just kind of does that on its own with Lexus hybrid system or Toyota's hybrid system. It's the same thing. So I'm gonna pull up on the screen. Oh, by the way, the navigation trial has ended, and this is what the base screen looks like when you turn on the car. So that's kind of unfortunate. You can just press the Android Auto button. If it's connected wirelessly, it's been very unreliable wirelessly for me. So yeah, let's get back to this screen because I like how it shows. Unfortunately, it doesn't show me a rear motor here. Even though, so when I got in this vehicle, I thought, okay, well maybe it's a front wheel drive model. I live here in Florida. I don't really need all wheel drive per se. But no, it just shows a single motor here, even though it's an all-wheel drive equipped model with a rear motor. So should you buy this Lexus UX tiny crossover here in 2023? Are the upgrades worth it over the previous model year? I mean, the previous models already had Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and since the wireless doesn't work most of the time for me anyways, there's no point. I guess the larger screen is nice. I like that Lexus is giving more options with the F-Sport handling, but to me, it's way too expensive. You can get the F-Sport design, which looks exactly the same on the outside as this car, for under $40,000. Skip all-wheel drive unless you feel like you need it. And that's the thing, when you get this thing over $40,000, it makes no sense to me. Just get the bigger, better, more powerful Lexus NX hybrid, or even the NX 250, which is going to have more power and more space, etc., than this model. We can get into the gas one more time. Let's put it into Sport Plus mode here. Let's turn on active sound control. There's 70. Like it almost sounds like a 4-cylinder like crotch rocket that it's like driving behind you, and it's just, I can't get over how silly it is. But I'm gonna end it there. I really do like the Lexus UX. If you can get it for around $40,000 or less, I love this hybrid system. Unfortunately, it's not the updated hybrid system with the new battery, etc., that gives you more power and better efficiency. So I'm a little bummed about that. And Lexus has trademarked the 300H, which in theory should use that updated 2-liter hybrid system. If you don't need to be putting people in the back seat regularly, this UX is probably a great vehicle. So it's good for maybe couples, young couples, older couples, or single people too, for that matter, who just don't need to put people in the back seat, because really it was uncomfortable putting my dad in the front seat and my mom behind him. My dad had to squish his seat all the way forward and his knees were against the dash here. So yes, if you don't need to put people back in the back seat, great little city vehicle. I love the compact nature of it, and it rides like a luxury vehicle, very smooth, very comfortable, very cush, and like these seats are amazing. But yeah, don't spend over 40K on this vehicle, in my opinion. If you are, get the better Lexus NX overall. I'm gonna end it there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more Lexus videos and reviews. Take care, have a great day. Happy New Year for watching this in 2023. Take care of yourselves and peace.